Alright everyone, welcome back to another video. Last time we left off with the Japanese visited here, showing a bar that some Japanese officers had visited. We're now on to Churchill is shot in Italy, August 1944. Just a moment, please. Prime Minister Winston Churchill, touring the 5th Army Front, gets his picture taken by an American mascot on the 34th Division in the Castiglioncello area. Below, Americans of Japanese descent, members of the 100th Infantry Battalion, 34th Division, examine a still smoldering German vehicle which they captured during the drive in the Leghorn area. So there's Mr. Churchill. I'm sure he was like, sure, if you'd like to take a picture of me, I guess you can, kind of. Or maybe he was annoyed. Who knows? The damn Yank, And yeah, they've been showing a lot in this book, American, not even just this one, but in previous of the books as well, many Japanese Americans and their participation on the American side. Now, how much do they really participate? Who's to say? Obviously, there's quite a bit of racism in the United States right this second. There's the camps that the Japanese have been going in, which not so great. But, yeah. Tackling problems on the Italian front. August 1944. Canadians meet a situation. And the background of picture at top is the entrance to one of the deep caves found along the Italian front, which served as protection against dive bombers. Here, a group of men make hasty repairs at this improvised workshop. You can see right up there, there's the hole right there. And yeah, you're going to make these tiny little holes and things like that to get a safe place from dive bombing. Sometimes the easiest places are just dig holes in the ground, Does help. And below, a view of a water purifying unit of the Canadian Army on a Saco River water point near Polfi, with trucks lined up for rations. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of water purifying. You don't want your troops drinking bad water, because if it drinks bad water, you could get some not so great things like diarrhea, things like that, which are not the worst, but not great to have. Or you could get things like cholera, and you'll have a cholera outbreak. You don't want a cholera outbreak. Cholera is pretty bad. Now, would they bring cholera here? I don't know. It's possible the Germans could have released it into the water. Who's to say? Amid the ruins of Mietkinyani. Oh boy, I don't know how to pronounce that either. August 1944. On the job on a distant front. An American sniper using to advantage a second-story window alertly watches for the slightest movement that would disclose the position of a careless Japanese. A mortar shell has entered through the roof and made a shambles of the building's interior. The strong brick construction proved a good defensive position for the Japanese and Chinese during this long front. Yeah, you're going to have a lot of buildings, obviously, that have been pretty much ruined. Brick, surprisingly, holds up really well against this kind of stuff. It's not impervious, but it holds up pretty well. So that's always good. The Japanese leave their dead behind. August 1944. Ooh, that's a bad picture. I'm going to show this bottom guy, and we're just going to zoom in on him, because it's pretty bad, but it's not as bad. Actually, we're just going to zoom in over here. So YouTube doesn't flag this, but you saw them, I saw them. Actually, let's look at these guys. How about that? Progress in the Asia campaign. As the Japanese were driven out of the town of Mikiani, their dead defenders were left grotesquely sprawled near the base of the positions they were ordered to defend until death. No longer will they yell their battle cry of blood for the emperor. A Chinese soldier stoically views the havoc wrought by his comrades during the heavy fighting. So yeah, you're gonna have quite a few dead. Sometimes it's just a logistics thing. You can't get them back in time, or it'll slow your army down, and you could get more men killed. But just leaving them so grotesquely out it's just wrong. Some recruits for the Burma campaign. August 1944. More headaches for the Japanese. A detail of American soldiers is shown with canine replacements first brought into the India-Burma theater in July. The dogs were used for patrolling and perimeter guard, and had been used with great success in other campaigns in the South Pacific. They had been fighting for more than a year alongside men of the Army, Marines, and Navy. Yeah, dogs are good defenders. They are good with, like they said, if you have them patrolling the outskirts of the camp, they might have a stronger sense of where enemies are. Where humans, we have to rely on our eyes, but a dog can rely on its sense of smell. So it's a little bit more useful than just relying on someone's eyes. As the Cassillons kept rolling along. August 1944. Colorful pattern at night. Kind of. The incessant artillery fire of Allied forces in France was one of the major assets employed by the Allies in wearing down the Nazi defenders. It had been said about artillery that it kept awake those that it doesn't kill or wound, making the infantryman's job easier. Here, an American battery lets go in the dead of night. Yeah, artillery, obviously, very useful. And like they said, it'll keep enemies up. Because you can't sleep very well if you have constant, loud booms near where you're sleeping. It's not very helpful. For the enemy, at least. So, and it also can wreak destruction from far away, things like that. World War I proved that. The only problem is when these artillery pieces, the artillery itself, doesn't actually go off. And so it just gets buried in the ground. So, you have places like in World War I where on France in France and in Germany, you have these thousands of artillery shells that are just lying around, and they find them every year, and they could still go off. They're just sitting there, and you don't know. It's kind of terrifying, really. The Battle for France. August 1944. Story of the Liberation. The Trail of White Arrows records the German defeat in France. After the landings on the shore of Normandy, the Americans and British were bottled up for weeks. Although Cherbourg was taken on June 27th, on July 26th, the Americans broke out below Avranches, and on August 9th, the British pushed through Caen. The pocketing of the German armies in the Normandy trap was the decisive factor in the battle for France, and made the lightning speed sweep to the east possible. So you see where the Allies broke out from. You see when they first landed, they have breaks here into Cherbourg, and then they get down here to Avranches, the Americans, the British here. And then the Americans keep going, some down here, some break off here, and meet up with the British here, snapping their jaws shut, as they say, on this whole pocket here. And then after that, more Americans split off and head for Paris, and then by August 31st, they're all the way over here. So they liberated Paris the 24th. Look at that. Look how fast that goes. It goes, okay, So the breakout happens here. July 26th is when they get to Renes. They get to here August 11th. And obviously they get to here August 10th. And then 14 days later, so 2 weeks later, they take Paris. Which, 2 weeks, that's wildly quick. And then they take Chateau Thierry the 31st. So quick movements by the Americans and the British after they get the breakout. And then obviously they do show in the south pushes here. But an American attack in France. August 1944. Infantry in action. American infantrymen dash across an open field in the face of heavy machine gun fire to engage SS troops in close battle during the advance in the general direction of Paris. The soldiers in foreground lie prone to fire a rifle grenade, while at the right a bazooka gunner races along with his comrades to join the attack on the highly defended Nazi strongholds. So you can see right there, that guy that's firing a rifle grenade, which if this is what I believe it is, from what they said in the book, they would put a attachment on the end of his Garand, and it'd be a grenade, and you shoot a special round, and that shoots the grenade, and then it blows up it should blow up on impact, I believe. And so it's just a way of using a grenade, but more maybe precisely. And then, yeah, you have the man with the bazooka running on up with his allies. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. If you guys liked the video, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Tell me what I could improve on. I always appreciate your feedback. And as always, subscribe. It really does help out the channel. Thank you.